All right, looks like we are live with the wonderful people there on YouTube and on Twitter, and we've got our Facebook crew jumping in as well. Going to be a big Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. The way this week is going, who really knows? I think it's Tuesday. Big two-word Tuesday kind of show. Pac-12 media deal was presented to the presidents of the Pac-12, and it was worse than anticipated. And we're going to talk about catfish, fried catfish, best fried catfish you ever had. All right, so let's get it rolling tonight. Now, you guys know what to do. The early arrivals, you give us thumbs up, you give us hearts, you let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Hi, if you're joining us on Twitter Live and YouTube, be sure and chime in on the text line tonight, 806-772-0197. Everybody gets in that way. You can use the text line if you want to. If you're hanging out with us there on Facebook Live, we're not going to stop you. But with the third-party streaming platforms and everything we use since we're on multiple platforms, for those on Twitter and those on YouTube, definitely use the text line so we don't miss your comments, 806-772-0197. Indeed, the talking box is on. Brandon, James, Ryan, good to see you. Good night. That's a little bitter. Not quite as smooth as usual. Let's get this thing going in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans. All you good to find friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com, the website. You start your day with us, finish your day with us, and you hang out with us at points in between, theraiderland.com, where you have the question of the day every morning. Coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios, another day tickling 100 around West Texas. You need Arctic air. If your air is not Arctic, call the bear. Also brought by McAlpin Chiropractic right here in the Hubaplex. Great Red Raider. Kevin McAlpin is your guy. Hey, don't feel bad. Don't put it off. Just go talk to Kevin McAlpin. It's not his slogan, but let's all say it together. If you're, I'm not even going to say it. I get in trouble when I say it. Hey, we're also coming to you tonight, thanks in part to the good people at the Reserve, a culinary tavern, 103rd and Quaker. Good little patio, great indoors, fantastic brunch, and they're up and running right now for supper. Find out what Chef Willie has got waiting for you at the Reserve. All right, let's get it going. 806-772-0197 on the Raiderland text line. You guys on Facebook, you can chime in on the Say Something box there. It is Two-Word Tuesday. Give you a topic, you give us 2 words. You already know it because you went to theraiderland.com. Give me 2 words to describe what made Zach Thomas different. We threw that out there this morning. He's going into the Professional Football Hall of Fame officially, the enshrinement, coming up this weekend. So if you can, creatively, give me 2 words on that. Good. Awesome. Now, we also every Tuesday ask you best thing I ever ate. Hat Tip Cooking Channel, great show. I got to think about fried catfish today. I did not have any. Greatest fried catfish you've ever had. Who does the best fried catfish? Around Lubbock, anywhere you may call home. I had a craving today for some catfish. Didn't get it. Might get it later on this week. We'll see. Burger night tonight. I'm looking forward to that. So that's our food topic on a Tuesday. Best fried catfish. 806-772-0197. Texas Tech gets underway with the media days, local media day coming up on Thursday. So we will finally have some football to talk about. And then today, it's all about the Pac-12. This is it. This was the witching hour. George Kliavkoff had to come in with something he didn't want to. He did. It's all over. The Pac-12's done. It is financial suicide for any of the schools to remain. The University of Arizona and Arizona State Board of Regents, they have a single board that oversees them. They scheduled a meeting yesterday, hastily arranged Board of Regents meeting with a very nebulous ability to go into executive session. They went to an executive session 30 seconds into the meeting. I want to buy an Apple subscription. They went into it at 30 seconds, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds. They went into executive session. It is, quite frankly, financial suicide. It is irresponsible for any of these schools that can get out to remain in the Pac-12. Chris Lakehouse on Lake Fork listening. Cool. Too hot to fish, hanging around and hanging out for news of conference realignment. You're going to get it. Hi there, Chris. Glad you're watching. And then is that Diane? Diane watching tonight? Cool. All right, so here's the terms of the deal. One, it's worse than we thought it would be, and by me, most people, most watchers, were expecting it to be pretty bad. That's why they didn't present it a week ago, 2 weeks ago. That's why Colorado was like, we're out of here. Yeah. Hey, Michael's watching too. That's cool. We thought it would be bad, that it would be this cobbled together deal of linear and nonlinear. And what we speak of when we mean linear and nonlinear. Nonlinear is streaming, linear, think of normal TV, ESPN, ABC, Fox Sports, that sort of thing, CBS. Then you've got your Apple, your Yahoo, your things of that sort. So the reports today, well, it depends on where you're supposed to be, Mr. Dalby. The reports today that it is 100% Apple TV. That's it. Let that sink in for a moment. That the deal, after all this time that Klavkov brought to them, 100% Apple TV. And you'd have to sign up for it. Non-Apple TV, you'd have to sign up to watch it beyond that. Oh, yeah, we don't have allegations of point shaving. We have allegations of quarterback Deckers allegedly betting on Iowa State sporting events, being charged with tampering with evidence today. So that's where they are. It is going to, now the numbers, we're still waiting on the actual numbers, but here's the deal. It's going to start off maybe $10 million baseline short of the Big 12 deal, if that good. Then the only way they can increase it is to sell subscriptions to people who don't care about Pac-12 sports to begin with. Why are we gathered here today? Because the fans of Pac-12 sports, football in particular, are the least passionate fans in college sports for the most part, other than a few pockets here and there. That's why the Pac-12 network was a failure, among other reasons, Larry Scott. But that you are asking the already least passionate fan base to do the most to watch their product. Most of these people would not walk across the street to see a Pac-12 football game for free. They're not going to sign up for Apple TV, then pay an additional fee to drive it to watch Oregon State play Washington State. It ain't going to happen. But this was all he had. This is all George Klavkov had. BYU fans go door to door for Western Jesus. Utah fans will go door to door for $8.99 a month. I love it. So all Pac-12 fans will be getting Publishers Clearinghouse letters. Yep. So that's in game. Colorado knew it. That's why they moved. Arizona had to wait for Colorado. Why? We don't know. It's this odd political dance that they don't want to be the ones to throw the Pac-12 apart. You aren't. Somebody needs to explain to them. USC, UCLA already did that. Yeah, if it was this bad, what were the other offers to the Pac-12? Not much. For the most part, most of them weren't interested in it. And as we've said before, why would you pay for the Pac-12 now? This is more brilliance by Brett Yormark. Again, by going first, by getting the Big 12 to the pay window first, Brett Yormark, we use the term set the market quite a bit when we talk about free agency, NFL, things like that. Brett Yormark didn't just set the market, he closed the market when he did that. And that the smart people at Fox and ESPN and your linear thinking TV networks quickly realized we don't have to pay for the Pac-12 anymore. USC, UCLA's gone. We don't offer them anything. There are only a few properties we want to pay for anyways. We absolutely lowball if we do anything. And then we've already established, again, smart move Big 12, smart move Big 12 TV partners by establishing a bottom rate pro rata, and we're going to use the term $31.8 million on this, all right? Just go with me. By establishing that bottom rate, hold firm, both entities could price it in going forward. The networks could say, okay, we'll take up to 4 or 5 teams at that number. We're fine with that because there are only a certain amount of teams that we're going to take, and you know who they are, Big 12, and we know who they are. Hi there, Arizona, potentially Arizona State, Utah. You've already got Colorado, and now the panic sets in for Oregon and Washington, which would, I think, absolutely mean Arizona State and Utah are on the outside looking in. We should probably mention right now with the Arizona Board of Regents, Arizona State and Arizona are not joined at the hip. The forces inside Arizona State identify more with Stanford and Cal. They believe that they are of that ilk. And it is no guarantee that Arizona State would go with Arizona into the Big 12. Alan says ESPN pulled an offer as recently as a month ago. I think it was only 15 games a year. ESPN wanted a little bit of an a la carte. What? Who was it last week? Was it Yahoo or was it one of the streaming people was quoted as saying, "We want everything. We don't want piecemeal." What Alan's referring to is an alleged offer that ESPN was looking at a piecemeal. Hey, we'll flex your best available game, which is pretty much a non-offer. Any indication the Big Ten will poach? No, not right now. Again, they don't have to. Big Ten's set. If the Big Ten really wanted Oregon and Washington, wouldn't they have them? There was nothing stopping it. There wasn't anything stopping them. Now they might. I think if the Big Ten goes anywhere, though, why do they need to go west still? They got the one market they really wanted. Does the Pac-12 think that getting SMU will make Dallas area residents care about the Pac-12? Some people try to proffer that. Some people in the media trying to prop up the Pac-12 try to say that in the same vein that they say, hey, San Diego State better than Colorado. We get San Diego State. We get Southern California like you won't believe. Well, Chip's a smart man here. Chip understands that if SMU delivered that market, they would have been in the Big 12 in 1994 or when it began in 96. They would have been in over TCU. They would have been in a major conference. That if San Diego State or San Diego, I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, founded by the Germans in 1905, it's kind of hard. If they delivered that market, which they don't, they'd already be in a major conference. They would have been in the Big 12 because what did the Big 12 want to do? They wanted to go west. They wanted the Western time zone. But the Big 12 knew they don't deliver it, and we can get better teams. Text in on the Raiderland text line, 806-772-0197. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter Live, we can't see your comments during the course of the broadcast if you comment directly on that. So please utilize that. We're talking about the Pac-12. It's not even a TV deal. It's a media deal. It's not even on TV, basically. 2 words to describe Zach Thomas was our 2-word Tuesday. And really, it's what made Zach Thomas special. Our 2-word Tuesday topic on the website this morning, theraiderland.com. And then give us greatest catfish, best fried catfish every Tuesday. And I know today we're dominated by conference realignment, Big 12 expansion, and everything else. But, hey, we're always going to talk food. So if you got best nominations for best catfish, fried catfish, where are you going to go? And, yeah, the Iowa State quarterback looks like he's going to be charged with tampering with evidence, allegedly a betting scheme involving his parents, allegedly that they set it up on mom's phone for him to allegedly bet on Iowa State games, including the one against Oklahoma State a couple years ago where he was the backup for Brock Purdy. You can't make it up. It just means more. Buffalo Springs catfish. I've never eaten a fish caught out of Buffalo Springs Lake. Let's see. I got to go back up and look at some of these comments, and you guys can fire away on the text line 806-772-0197. Is it true Fox may only pay to get Big 12 to 14 teams? Do 15 and 16 have to be Oregon and Washington? As I understand it, Fox is good. That the networks are good with the Power 5 schools to get to 16. That it's not a 14. Brett Yormark says 14 because Brett Yormark creates demand by limiting supply, and he wants them to panic. He wants them to go, crap, we better get in. You know? Pac-12 TV deal like Major League Baseball blackout for the entire West Coast. Hey, Shane, Reagan watching. Just curious, does the Big 12 consider a name change after expansion? No. The conference names are pretty much priced in. And it kind of, I mean, the SEC's lucky that they have a directional name, a geographic name. Big Ten's not changing their name. Big 12 doesn't need to change. You know what the Big 12 is. I mean, could you change it now at this point? No. Don't do it. Just leave it Big 12. If you were going to do anything, go Southwest Conference. You're in the South, you're in the West. You know? That if you were going to do anything, you could have kept Southwest. Twitter was priced in. I don't think Twitter has really changed its name. I don't think it has. I think Elon's just having some fun making people talk about Twitter. But they're still calling it Twitter. Would I be surprised if ASU joins the Big 12? I would not be surprised, but I also do not think that they want to join the Big 12. I think Arizona State still thinks they're Stanford and Cal, and they're part of that cabal, and their leadership thinks it that way. The West Southwest, South by Southwest, the South by Southwest Conference, the border conference. They all have state borders. No, I won't be surprised if Arizona State joins. Arizona State should. Arizona State, I think their leadership is derelict of duty if they don't. But at the same time, I don't get the feeling that there is any huge desire on their part to be a part of it. And they may feel like, I believe Utah feels like, hey, let's just hang around here. As long as we've got a guaranteed spot in the college football playoff, why not just run the show here in the Mountain West and not worry about anything? David says, my grandfather had me clean out a cow pond full of catfish. That ended up ever eating catfish. There's a lot of things that if you knew how it was made, you wouldn't want to eat it. I still like fried catfish. Really good fried. I mean, catfish is like shrimp. There's that fine line to being perfectly cooked, the right amount of crispy, the right breading, to being overcooked or being undercooked. I mean, it is an art form. Just an absolute art form for great catfish. And then you got to have the good coleslaw, and we're off and running. Would University of New Mexico? That's not a serious question. Joe's not asking a serious question. We're not even going to answer that. River Smith's favorite during the 80s and 90s. Yeah, the original River Smith down there on 4th Street. One of the first places in town that had like a big screen TV. It was all fuzzy, and the picture wasn't very sharp. And you'd go in there and you'd watch CMT videos, and you'd eat catfish. Those little puff balls, honey. Yes, you would. And of course, it was smoking because everything was smoking. You go back to work or whatever. Just, here's to 1992 with the University of New Mexico or New Mexico State bring anything. They don't even bring anything to the table for New Mexico. 806-772-0197 if you want to text in on the Raiderland text line. Otherwise, you can get in if you're on Facebook Live. Typical way. Either way, you can contact us. We appreciate it. However you join us. By the way, brought to you in part by Boot City. Many of the shirts you see me wearing on these broadcasts, you can get there at Boot City. This one is a little bit of the older vintage, but still have some that are kind of a similar style. I've been told that the Paisley not quite as in as it was a couple of years ago, but I still like the shirt, so I wear the shirt. Boot City back to school savings are going on, and I'll say this again: if you are trying to find hey dudes for yourself or your kids, they usually have a pretty good selection in some of the bigger sizes as well. We are talking catfish, best catfish. We're talking Pac12 dead. I have not hit refresh on Jason Shear in the last few minutes to see if we've seen anything else come out. There is no Boot City 2 anymore, just the one Boot City. They decided one was enough. Crappie over catfish. How you like your crappie? Scrolling through to see if there's anything crazy that is being proffered up here in the last few minutes. You go through there, you got to hit refresh. You got to do that. And we've got, I guess the board meeting was called back to order. So there you go. That's all we got. Nothing new on the Arizona border region. Now, I'm not expecting them to walk out tonight and say we have peace in our time, hold up a piece of paper and say, we have called Brett Yormark. We have formally applied for Pac-12 membership. But by the end of the week, certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Arizona's coming, right? I mean, Arizona's already in. Arizona just needed something so they could say, yeah, we waited around. They put this deal in front of us that's a joke. I just wonder how many other schools around the Pac-12 are startled by this. I mean, if you've lost Don Wilner and Stuart Mandel, they'll never lose John Canzano at Oregon. He was proffering up earlier today. Hey, real positive. Going to meet again so we can prove it. It was great positive. God bless Canzano, man. He is going down the ship. Wilner has tried to morph a little bit. I've still lost a lot of respect for him, though, over the last 6 months in particular. It's a shame. He could have had the Big 12 hotline just as easy as the Pac-12 hotline, but that now belongs to the Gambling Gauchos. These schools can't be surprised, although some of them maybe are. God, we dodged a bullet here at Texas Tech, not getting involved with that mess. I hold myself partially responsible for thinking up until a few years ago that they, talking about many of the Pac-12 schools, were as interested as being a part of college athletics as we were. They were not. They are not. I was wrong, and I'm glad we didn't end up in that mess. And 2 years ago, had they issued the invitation to the Big 12 schools, we would have all been there. You know, we would have all been there. Reagan spoke with my bud at USC. He said he figured Arizona State would jump. Well, we'll see. They sure haven't acted like it up to this point. What happens to the Rose Bowl when the Pac-12 dissolves? They'll play some games in it. There'll be a bowl game called the Rose Bowl, and it'll feature some teams. Gary's watching. What happened to the Cotton Bowl? Who plays in the Cotton Bowl? Who plays in the Orange Bowl? Does the Gate play whoever in the Orange Bowl? I mean, who plays, those things, they don't matter anymore. Things change. Things are different. The two-word Tuesday topic, you can sound off it more if you want to at theraiderland.com. 2 words to describe what made Zach Thomas special. What made Zach Thomas special going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Finally going in this weekend officially. Can Florida State really buy their way out of their ACC? No, they can't. Unless the grant of rights is opened up by either the networks wanting to do it or the networks wanting to do it or the networks wanting to do it. No, they can't. The only way Florida State, Clemson, or anybody else goes anywhere is if the networks decide we want to move those pieces and put them in another conference. Passion and his intensity. Rose Bowl will just be playoffs now, the new expanded playoffs. Yeah, just like everything else. Zach Thomas, 2 words, work instinct. Instinct. You mean like he had a basic instinct for football? Is that what you're saying? A basic instinct for him. Got a few minutes left with you tonight here on the daily broadcast. We'll wait for the Arizona fallout. The Big 12 will be getting new members. Life will be good. Just a matter of how many. I hope Utah and Arizona State don't get in. I hope it's Arizona. I hope it's Washington. I hope it's Oregon. I really have no love affair, but I don't have anything against Washington. But I just think it would be hilarious if they're, after all the crap talking, particularly for Utah, that they're not involved in it. And then Arizona State, I just don't trust them. They just don't seem to be a competently run university, what I've watched over the last year or so. Utah State, now, yeah, watch out for the U-tags. Got to be careful with the U-tags. They can be tough. Catfish, top catfish, Dimbas, maybe these days. If you were doing a power ranking for fried catfish in Lubbock, there's a lot of new fish places, but I hardly ever hear anybody talking about, oh yeah, you got to go there for the catfish. Kebabs around these parts used to have the best catfish on Friday nights. Oh, is it the old Acuff Steakhouse? Used to have fried catfish, Friday night fried catfish. That place closed up, shuttered up, long gone. Too bad. That was a good place. Not much to look at, but pretty good food there at the old Acuff Steakhouse. Food every Tuesday. Best thing I ever ate. Hatton Cooking Channel, great show. All American Eatery fried catfish, pretty good. Like I said, it's like shrimp, and you've got to cook it perfect. Get on the Raiderland text line 806-772 0197. Does Arizona State have a good baseball team? Big 12 needs RPI help. They've been very good in the past. They haven't been so good the last few years. They should be much better, but a lot of the traditional teams in the Pac-12 that have been good over the decades and over the history, kind of dropped off over the last few years. It's been Stanford. UCLA had that good team a couple of years ago that came out here to Lubbock, obviously. But a lot of your traditional powers haven't been that the last couple of years. Now, Arizona and Arizona State, there's no excuse. They should be top 25 baseball teams each and every year. What is it? Packard Stadium there at Tempe. I think the facilities are fine. It seems like Arizona State's had a coaching carousel problem a little bit on that for maybe. But they would be a good baseball addition to the Big 12. I mean, from a baseball standpoint, not that baseball drives the bus on any of this. Nothing drives the bus except for football. Basketball is a separate bus now, thanks to Brett Yormark, and you'll see that with Gonzaga. And if you're sitting there at UConn today, you're going, oh man, we're probably screwed on getting in other than basketball only. And I don't think they'll come for basketball only. That's another thing that we don't have time really to get into today. I think this quite possibly ends any talk of Brett Yormark getting UConn in as a full-fledged member. He was more, unless that was, again, that could have been very good political maneuver on Yormark's part to have that out there to make people think that out west and to spur them into action into thinking, well, if we don't take one of these spots, they're going to give it to UConn because the Big 12, and rightfully so, has stated, we're going to break out our basketball rights. We want great basketball teams. UConn fits the bill. I don't know that UConn would leave Big East for just for basketball only in the Big 12. Yeah, could have been. I mean, could have been a little bit of a bait car on that. Hello, Philip. The stainless steel stallion, ladies and gentlemen, from the old radio show. Texting in at 806-772-0197. How much time we got left? Not a whole lot of time left. You guys better take advantage of the time while we have the time together. Take advantage, but not take advantage of each other. We're taking advantage of the time. Arizona board met about the Big 12. Yeah, we believe they did. About an hour ago, they started off their board meeting that was hastily arranged yesterday. Went into executive session 30 seconds in, and I don't know if we are back or not yet. I'm looking at Jason Shearer, 24/7 Sports, and I'm not seeing anything updated on his deal. So who came today? Nobody joined the Big 12 today. Not yet. Oh, wow. Super 70 Sports. A golf cart tricked out like the Bennett's Trans Am. Oh, that's beautiful. Gotta love that. Love Twitter. Hat tip MH Veer, by the way. Hat tip MH Veer on Twitter. You were right, man. Everybody hated it. Everybody was talking, you know what, about MH Veer. Turns out he was right all along. He was the first one to ever say USC, UCLA to the Big Ten. And he's nailed quite a bit of what's going on. I don't know who his sources are. I don't know who he talks to. But he's got some pretty good sources. So today we talk a little catfish, a little Zach Thomas, a little Big 12 expansion. Tomorrow, Bandwagon Wednesday, get ready. We'll hit you in the morning on the website, theraiderland.com. Get your bandwagons ready to go. Bandwagons you're on, bandwagons you're off, sports or otherwise. Vitally important that you join us early in the day there at theraiderland.com. We're going to post the replay for this for you. They're on the website. You can share it with your friends who missed out during the regular course of the show. It happens. What you going to do? No, sometimes people get busy. We say goodbye first to the people on Twitter and on YouTube. Ask me if I want to end the broadcast. I say yes. Yes, we do.